I don't know if it's the Jill Cook's protocol or I don't know who came up with this idea, but it's isometric, slow, heavy, power. So moving the weight faster, and then into spring tolerance. So like extensive plyos or whatever, change of direction, and then into the core. That power phase is one thing that I've always went back and forth on. Like, I don't know if we need to go from slow heavy to having a dedicated phase to like moving the bar faster, or if we can go from slow heavy straight into our extensive like change of direction work and extensive plyos. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, do you need that power phase?
No.
Yeah, I would agree.
I
would agree.
I don't I mean, I have a training program for it. I don't do that. It's just heavy, slow. And then I kind of separate where I'm like, a tempo for health is go slow on the way down and then go slow on the way up. So like, just think of whenever you add speed to the tendon, you increase the rate of loading, you increase the pull. And if you just go slow down and slow up, you're not doing that. But then I have kind of a performance tempo where I'm like, control down, explode up fast. So like you're getting some spring there. But yeah, I just have 4 phases: isometric, lifting, store and release, back to sport.
Yeah.
I don't think, because even think the store and release is so specific to XL, decel, change direction, jump, land.
Yeah.
And that's hard to get with a barbell in your hands. You're not getting that type of stuff.
I don't love lifting for spring, like for elasticity. I think you could build a little bit there, but it's not the best way. And then you're not practicing the specific skills. So you're not getting the calibration and the rhythm and timing. So it's like, why waste a whole phase there? And anecdotally, I feel like the power stuff in the weight room kind of yanks on the tendon a little bit. Sometimes it pisses it off more than a low-level extensive plyo or a change of direction. Not that it's bad. Like, I still like a moving the bar fast. It's just like in that rehab, I just don't think it's fully necessary. I think the reason why it's there is a lot of people go into plyos and they think that they have to do 90 to 100%. Like, they go straight into intensive. But it's like, you can go do change of direction, like you said, at 20%. And then say, does this hurt or not? Okay, let me take it up to 30. Let me take it up to 40 and just gradually ramp it up. So yeah, for me personally, I take out that power phase. So you would go from the strength, so slow, heavy into extensive plyo, change of direction. And then where would you go from there?
Yeah, then it's like, that is, and I'm hands-off guy. So I'm like, you have to look at what your sport demands and kind of make that store and release phase build you up to what the sport is. So it's just like return to play and go ahead. But use common sense. So the way that works is like the isometric phase is isometric every single day. That's all you're doing. You're not playing sport. You're not doing anything. If you want to do something that doesn't stress your patellar tendon, go ahead and do that. Could be biking. Could be like upper body lifting, free reign, do whatever you want. But then when you get to lifting, it's lifting every other day and then isos the other day. So it's lift one day, isos the other day. If you need a day off, you just take a day off if you feel a little bit overworked. The reason why you do isos every day early on is you got to think someone with long-term tendon pain, their muscle is so shut down, it's so weak that you can't even get any output out of that thing. Like right now, I'm completely healthy. If I did isos every day, it probably would cause some damage like to my muscle and my tendon because I'm giving high outputs. You know, I'm getting high outputs out of that. But if I just have coming off a chronic tendon pain, I'm doing leg extension with 10 pounds. I can do that twice a day. You know, I could do that every single day. And you want to get rid of that brain deficit as soon as possible. Sorry, I'm jumping around. And then when I get to store and release, it's store and release day 1, isos the next day, because you might be a little beat up the next day. And isos are always like the most well tolerated. And then the lifting day, and then repeat the cycle, go back. So it's like a 3-day cycle.
Yeah.
So that store and release, you get 2 days off before like more intense tendon loading before you get back to it. But that's the thing for me as the business I've made, being hands off, not an interventionalist, not holding people's hands. I'm like, that's kind of the store and release phase I've done as best I can to grade all of those, the jumping, landing, change direction stuff. I've graded those the way they make the most sense. But if you're getting back to being a cyclist or something, then you probably got to change that store and release phase. Like, you probably don't need to do jumping, landing, and that type of stuff. Just take your sport and build that up. Because the isometrics and the lifting, that's just strengthening all the surrounding areas around your tendon, but then to get that spring back and that normal function back, look at what your sport is and build it up like that.
Yeah.
And going back to the power thing, like to get, Jill Cook has said that weighted plyometrics are kind of poorly tolerated, but I've heard anecdotes that it helps people, like they feel great off of it. And I don't know if that's because you're engaging everything else more so, or what it is. Even like flywheel training, Jill Cook was like, tendons hate flywheel. And I went and saw Paul Cater in Monterey, California. And he has so many anecdotes of helping people's knees and Achilles with flywheel training.
I like flywheel.
So it's like I think the poison's in the dose. If you do too much, it's always going to be bad. But